And there we go.
Hey, what's up? I'm Luis.
I'm Abby.
And we are the writers of The Conversation, where we talk about stories that will get you talking today. And today we're going to talk about trash.
We got some trashy news today on The Conversation.
Yes, yes. And we're also talking about something else that's kind of like pretty important that's happening
this
tomorrow,
weekend.
right?
Yep.
Do you want to talk about that first and tell us like what's going on?
Yeah, let's do it. So The Conversation, again, is the blog that we write on the San Diego Union-Tribune's website. And we've been starting to do this live every day at noon. And we're back again. This is the end of our second week of doing this. And we just want to shout out our viewers and say, if you have comments, questions, anything while we're getting this going, please comment below.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on YouTube, leave your comments there. And online on san diego union-tribune.com, leave comments there. We're watching, and we want to hear what you have to say. So anyway, I'm writing today about the March for Our Lives. So this is a big, big event that's taking place this weekend in Washington, D.C. It's in response to the Parkland, Florida shooting at a high school where 17 people were killed. And so now there's been a few events and marches in response. We covered on The Conversation Live last week, the one that happened at high schools. There was a national walkout day, and now they're doing a rally in Washington, D.C. Related to all of those events that have been happening, and it's in an effort to get
part two of those marches? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the biggest event of all of them.
Okay.
And this is supposed to be a big rally in Washington, D.C. The whole point of it is they're wanting to call attention on gun violence and call for more gun control legislation from Congress. And so obviously they're meeting on Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. to try and make a point. And 500,000 people are expected to be there.
Yeah, that's a pretty big
Yeah,
turnout.
It's going to be a really big turnout. And of course there's celebrities involved, and there'll be performances and stuff like that. And you'll be able to watch it on their website.
Yeah, and so if people want to find out more, like if there's anything local happening, you'll have that in your story?
So that's the other thing, is there are marches happening around the country and the world. There's Haiti, Lithuania, India, Japan, they're all over, just solidarity marches. There was one actually today in Israel outside the embassy, the U.S. embassy there. So this event is worldwide, and there are 3 events happening here in San Diego. This is all taking place tomorrow. It starts at noon DC time, but here in San Diego, the 3 marches are starting at 10. There's one at the County Administration Building downtown here in San Diego. It's pretty close to us here. And it starts again at 10. There's one in Escondido at City Hall at 10. And then there's one in Encinitas at Swami's at 10. So we're putting together here's what you need to know blog post about that, and you'll be able to find it on San Diego Union-Tribune.com.
We'll throw your link in the comments. So if you're watching and you're wondering, asking questions, we'll throw in like the link to that blog post in the comments.
Yep. And you can check out, we're looking into what locals are saying about it. We'll be pulling in information, and I'm sure we'll have reporters who are doing coverage of that as well. So keep it locked on San Diego.
And that's sort of like the continuation of the conversation, this national debate that's going on gun violence.
Yeah.
Because the Parkland shooting happened well over a month ago.
Yep, February 14th, Valentine's Day.
And and we're still talking about it. There's still like national things going on. So the national conversation is obviously still going. And it's kind of quite remarkable that it's been able to stay in the news for like so long.
Yeah.
So so that's kind of cool. That's kind of interesting.
It's a lot of students involved. It's Parkland kids who are help organizing it. There's also some larger organizations behind it. One of them is Giffords Courage, and another is Everytown for the Everytown organization that has been a gun violence, anti-gun violence and gun control advocate for a long time. So there are some bigger forces at work here, but it's definitely students that are leading the events around the country and the world. So it's pretty interesting.
That's cool. Okay, well, we're gonna shift gears a little bit here and
talk about trash.
Those who are like wondering what is this big red blob thing in the back. That's actually an image that was created by the cleanup group. I think it's called the cleanup group. Let me double check that. Yeah, it's this organization that's basically, did this massive research study on how much plastic debris is in the Pacific Ocean. And they found this massive blob of concentration of garbage, of plastic garbage out in the Pacific Ocean. And as you can see, California is over here on the far right side. And apparently this thing is 3 times the size of the country of France, 2 times the size of Texas. That's a lot of mass. But
oh yeah, there's California right there. You can compare how big.
Yeah, I wrote about this yesterday, and there was other publications. The Washington Post, the LA Times also had stories on this. But there's a link to the actual study in my post, and I go through a Q&A. Like, what is this thing? How did it come to be? And it is true that it is called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And it is real.
Great name.
But I think the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, actually doesn't like the name because it's sort of like a misnomer. Like you think of a garbage patch as like a floating island of trash, which is not. And they say that it's...
what is it?
It's basically just a bunch of like loose particles that get moved around a lot. And they get kind of like mixed around in different currents, different ocean currents. And so they say that it's actually quite not so visible to see with the naked eye. You can't even see it from space.
Oh, really?
Even if you drive, even if you go through it in a boat, you wouldn't be able to see it because some of the particles are just so small. And the majority of these like plastic particles, there's like these micro, plastics that like a lot of them come from like your scrubbers, your facial, scrubber. But a lot of it is also just, plastic bottles, takeout containers, probably some plastic bags, a lot of fishing nets. And there's actually a number I wanted to bring out. There is about 79,000 metric tons, which is a lot, or about 1.8 trillion pieces of plastic. That's trillion with a T. And apparently this garbage patch is not the only one. There's like apparently another one over closer to Japan to Asia, and then another one like in northern Pacific Ocean. So there's definitely a lot of garbage, and it's hurting like sea animals, coral reefs. It's just really taking a toll. This organization, this nonprofit that wants to clean up the ocean, they say that they're working on some sort of technology to do this.
Yeah.
But the NOAA is pretty skeptical about that because it's extremely difficult to just pick it all up.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. So, so check it out. I'll throw a link in the comments. If you have any questions, throw them on there, and I'll try to go on there and answer some of your questions about this. And
I'm definitely interested.
Yeah,
I never heard of that before.
It's quite crazy. Yeah, it's quite crazy.
Yeah, so again, that's the conversation. Our blog's on the San Diego Union-Tribune website, san diegounion-tribune.com. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on